Good morning, students. Welcome to online lecture series of Distributed Computing System. I am Professor Arun Wagmare. Last lecture, we have studied the different advantages and disadvantages of a distributed system. In today's lecture, we will see the failure model, interaction model, and World Wide Web. Right? That is WWW. So first of all, we will see that is failure model. So in distributed system, both communication channels as well as processes may flop, right? Both communication channel and processes may leave from what is considered to exact or accurate behavior. The failure model explains the techniques in which failure may, in order to provide better understanding of effects of a failure. So there are different failures are there: omission failure, arbitrary failure, timing failure, masking failures. So what is this? What are these failures? So omission failures. So when communication channel or process fails in order to execute any operation or some action, there comes the concept of a omission failure. There are different classes of this omission failures are there. When we can say the main omission failure of the process is to crack or crash. When it is said that a process has cracked, it is simply means it has stopped and it will not accomplish any further steps or its program even. Other process may able to sense such crack by fact that a process continuously fails repeatedly in order to reply to request messages. Well, this method of crack recognition totally depends on the timeouts. Timeouts is nothing but we can say timeouts is a simply techniques in which one process allow fixed period of time for something to happen. So there are some classes of this omission failures, that is a fail stop, crash, send omission, receive omission, and omissions. Omission also is there. So in fail stop generally affects the process. This fail stop or crash or this send and receive omission affect the process. So what is this fail stop? Process halts and remains halted, and other process may detect this state. What is the this crash? Crash process halts and remains halted. Other process may not able to detect this state. So in a fail stop, other process may detect this state, while in crash, other process may not able to detect this state. What is this send omission? So in process completes a send, but message is not put in its outgoing message buffer. What is the receive omission? So message is put in the process incoming buffer, but that process does not receive it. And another one, there is omission is also there. So what is this omission? Message inserted in the outgoing message buffer never arrives at the other end's incoming message buffer. So these are the different omission failures, or you can say class of the omission failures are there. So second is arbitrary failure. So arbitrary failure is used in order to describe the worst failure. The worst failure are those. So what is this worst failure? The worst failure are those in which any type of error may arise. The arbitrary failure is also known as a Byzantine failure. So for example, the process may set the wrong values in its data items, or it may return the wrong values in response to the invocations. Arbitrary failures of the process is one in which it arbitrarily neglects proposed processing steps or takes unplanned processing steps. Arbitrary failure in processes cannot be detected by observing whether the process replies to calls or a request. Communication channel can suffer from these arbitrary failures. So next is timing failure. So these failures are relevant in synchronous distributed system. So in a synchronous distributed system, time limits are set on the basis of 3 time values, which are the process execution time, message delivery time, and a clock drift time. So timing failure, also there are some classes of failures are there, that is a clock and performance. So this also affects the process. So any of these failures may result in responses being unavailable to the clients within a specified time interval. In an synchronous distributed system, the burden server may reply too gently, but it is not the fact that it has timing failure, since no guarantee has been presented. A real-time operating system are planned and designed with outlook in order to supply timing guarantees. General purpose OS or general purpose operating system such as Unix do not need to meet real-time constraints. Timing is appropriate to multimedia computer system with audio and video channels. Generally, video information can require very large amount of data to be shifted. In order to convey such multimedia data or information without timing failures can make very special demands on both operating system as well as the communication system. Next is a masking failures. So each of the elements of distributed system is normally developed from the collection of the other elements of the same characteristics or you can say the functionalities. It is probable to build the reliable service from the elements that show failures. For example, multiple servers having a replicas, we can say copies of information, can continue in order to deliver the service when one of them cracks. The service mask failure either by hiding it totally, by altering it into a more suitable type of a failure. Again, there is a one more failure we can consider, failure model we can consider, that is the main software component that may fail. So what is this main software component that may fail means what? There are 3 main software components, right? There is a client process, server process, or communication software. There is client process that it may crash, server process, the process may be crashed, communication software, the message may fail to arrive. So failures are generally caused independently of one another. The examples of dependent failures are if loss of message causes the client or server, the process to crash, if client crashing cause the server problems, if crash of process cause a failures in communication software, simply server just wait for the request messages, executes the invocation and send replies. It should be absolutely to lose the messages. But if a server store the information about its clients, it might eventually fail if client crash without informing the server. So next point is our World Wide Web. So this World Wide Web is ordinarily known as the web, or you can say WWW, right? So this WWW is not identical to the internet, but it is the most protruding fragment of the internet. If it is, or you can say it is a major transformable information paradigms and was introduced by Tim Berners-Lee in 1989 at European Center for Nuclear Research in Switzerland. The web is a progressing resource access and a distributing system across the internet. The fundamental characteristics of the web is that it offers the hypertext structure for storage of data in document. And these documents are basically of hyperlinks which are dedicated for giving the reference to others' resources or documents which are stored in the web. So World Wide Web is open system that can be implemented, stretched, devoid of detracing the existing standard functionality. The different types of web browsers, web servers are available nowadays, which can be used for information storage and retrieval as per the end user requirements. So three main components of this World Wide Web, that is hypertext, markup language, that is HTML, then uniform resource locator, that is URLs, and third one is hypertext transfer protocol, that is HTTP. So what is this hypertext markup language, HTML? The hypertext markup language or HTML is a language meant for postulating the layout and overall content of web pages, or we can say websites. The HTML is basically used for the specification of images and text which are contents of web pages or a website. Web pages mainly consist of structured things like images, tables, paragraphs, and headings. HTML can be used for specification of links to various resources associated with the web pages or the website. Next is URLs, uniform resource locators, are dedicated for the unique identification of resource and web related documents which are stored in the web. URLs, also known as uniform resource identifiers, right? That is, every single URL consists of scheme and scheme specific identifier. The scheme part of the URL indicates that type of a URL, whereas scheme specific identifier are meant for the appropriate identification of variety of the resources. The next, hypertext transfer protocol, that is HTTP. So this hypertext transfer protocol offers the standards, rules for proper communication and coordination amongst the clients and web servers. With the help of client, so you can say in short, this HTTP defines the way of interaction between clients and web servers. The HTTP is a request reply kind of protocol. The client first of all send a request to the server, which is then followed by acknowledgement from the server side to the client. Web server then retrieves the data from the database as per the requirement of clients and forward the information to the respective clients in the form of the responses to that particular query. So next is the interaction model. So what is this interaction model? Distributed system of many processes cooperating and communicating in difficult ways. For example, multiple server processes cooperate with each other in order to provide the services. The performance of the communication channel, right, related to the three things. First one is the latency, second one is the bandwidth, and next is a jitter. So what is this latency? The delay between the start of message transfer from one process and launching or beginning of its received by the another process is known as the latency. Next, what is this bandwidth? Bandwidth of the computer network is defined as total amount of information that can be transferred over a computer network in a given time. Is nothing but the bandwidth. So when a large number of communication channels are consuming the same network, they require sharing the available bandwidth. So what is this jitter? Jitter is the variation in time, variation in the time taken to deliver a series of a message. So generally jitter is relevant to your multimedia data. For example, if sequential parts of audio data are played with different time intervals, then sound will be distorted. So these are the 3 points we have covered. That is our World Wide Web, a failure model, and an interaction model.